Welcome to the Dobsonian Power Solar Sessions. Bam! Here we go again. Today we will talk about that massive blackout on Puerto Rico and why should you be prepared for something in your home as well, in your region. I'm doing it and I will show you what I'm doing to mitigate the damage. Also, I will show you something connected with this kind of events in the sun that caused the blackout that is correlated with what's happening right now in the King Sun and that happened in the past, and I bet that most of you, if any of you, know about it. If not, you will know this live stream. It's very important. It happened in the past as many other events and it's massive, correlated with these blackout issues. Also, we will talk about the life on the planet K2-18b again, so increased the chances of having life there. I will summarize it for you. I will not dig deeper into that. I have already a video about that in the channel, an old one. And we will talk, of course, about that massive coronal hole that it's headed in front of us. Welcome everybody, welcome Cookies, welcome John, Pyro, E-Type, Fred, Jay, Just Me, Lisa, everybody's in the house. Have a... do you call in United States? Good Friday. It's right, Good Friday. Is that holidays in your region? I believe that in United States only some states consider that this day, today, the Good Friday, a holiday. Well, let me tell you that at least in my country, Portugal, and in my neighbor, Spain, it's all freaking closed. Nobody is working. Everybody is with leisure time, enjoying the holidays. By the way, we are streaming from here. Planet Earth, continent Europe, country Portugal, region Algarve, 37 latitude, Bortle 5. Is it holiday in United Kingdom? Smash that like button, Chucky's in the house, yeah! Actually, you will like something that I will talk about around this blackout topic. Oh man, what I discovered. Hold on. Actually, let me place it here, otherwise I will forget. It has to be with prepping, check, and it has to be with something we talked about, you sent me, about that electrical stuff. We'll see in a moment. You will understand in a moment. Let me put here, otherwise my head... I was all day yesterday. I'm feeling very strong mentally, but physically, man, I was yesterday and today doing gardening only. Pruning and stuff that I didn't prune after winter. And planting 2 trees, pomegranate and a peach tree to add to my lemon tree and orange tree. It's kind of my prepping plan, a soft prepping plan that I've been implementing. Most of you know, the ones that are here on the community, and I advise you to do the same, to do it slowly, but to do something. Today one thing, tomorrow another thing, and you will see that you will have benefits in the future because of that. Thank you, Stephen A, for being member. For 1 month, you are an explorer. You are an explorer. Earthquake. 4.6 on Japan again. 4.1 on Japan, then a 4.6, 4.4 on the Pacific Ocean, 4.0 and 3.9 on Mexico. This is just in a few hours. And in Europe, 4.1. It's not usual to have so many. 2.8 in France, man. In France. They never have earthquakes. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Well, amazing, you know. We'll keep monitoring the earthquakes in real time during the live stream as usual. As usual. Snowing in Colorado. We'll talk very interesting stuff we have today to talk with you. Unfortunately, the weather's still bad here and I can't place my telescope outside. To the bunker. The ones that have the bunker will do it. The ones that have the bunker. What are you talking about? They can take it away what from you on Germany? What? What will they take you away? Or they take away from you on Germany? The fruit? Trees? Not bad, not bad, not bad. I feel physically tired today with the energy, but I believe it was really from being working outside. I worked a lot. And guys, look, this thing of the blackouts, this thing of the sun, I had another... Look, to put you in context, the ones that are new here. I just had 3 blackouts here in my region, a small region of my whole region, so it was not a lot of homes affected, but mine was. Something on the structure that distributes to my neighbors and me was damaged. 3 blackouts in 3 weeks. Never happened to me in all these decades here since I moved from north to south. I chose this place to live, and I'm glad I did it. 3 blackouts in 3 weeks. This is not normal. Okay. In the past, I had a blackout that damaged. In the recent past, I had a blackout that damaged my oven, my electronic oven, and they fixed it. They replaced the pieces. It was on the guarantee, 2 years that we have here on Europe. And man, we had this coronal mass ejection, the impacts. We reached, after the stream, we saw that we were between G3, G4. It was a G4, considered a G4 by NOAA. And bam, again, my oven, all crazy. Completely, the electronics connecting with different numbers. I had to disconnect it from the grid. And they came here yesterday. The technician came here yesterday. They came right away. It's a local store. And he couldn't explain. He was measuring with a multimeter and things. Nothing was burned out like black and burn. He couldn't explain. He cleaned everything and now it's working fine. But he said that probably it was a peak of energy. And I said to him something that and this is one of the things to implement that I will do. Hopefully you did it already, or you will do in the future. There's something that exists. I'm not an electrician, But there's something that I'm aware that it exists, and I spoke with the guy, the technician, and I said, there's a device that we can put in the entrance of the electricity. So before entering in the house, we put that device and something like that. And at the beginning, and if there's a high peak of energy, it cuts the energy. So it protects everything. I have kind of those devices here in my house. For instance, for this live stream, I'm protected if there's a thunderstorm or something, a high peak of energy. I'm protected, but only this device. But I'm aware that there's a device to put at home at the entrance of the electricity, of the power supply, and it manages everything. I will do that. Next week I will call a good electrician, and I will ask him about that, and if it's possible, he will implement. The technician was saying that he was going to do the same. So I'm not saying this is for sure because of the coronal mass ejection, but man, this is too much of a coincidence. So I will do that. This is one of the measures I will be implementing. He fixed it, it's fine now. Now we had on Puerto Rico a massive one. Let me show you. A surge protector. Probably. No such thing as coincidences. Yeah, I believe so. That's why I'm putting action. Now, other people were not so lucky as I was, with only the electronics of my oven being affected, but they were almost 400,000 people. 400,000 people on Puerto Rico that were affected by this. I want to show you something to draw you the attention to something here. A different perspective. Yeah, I do the same, but I have not all the devices. Not all the devices. I will inform with an expert, so it's an electrician that is very good, that I know. So, to put you in context, the ones that don't know very well, there was a massive blackout on Puerto Rico. They don't know until this moment in time. It's not known the real origin or the real cause of this massive blackout. Puerto Rico is one of the regions or countries, like other countries like Cuba or other countries, that tend to suffer more often from blackouts because also of the old power grids. However, the sun effects mainly, the solar events affect mainly old power grids, and first the biggest ones. That's why I believe if we have a blackout, for instance, this is very important. This is awareness today in this live stream. A blackout like Puerto Rico blackout in your region or mine will lead to power disruption, of course, but will not burn your computer, will not burn your smartphone, will not burn your devices at home. Probably. It might burn like it happened with my oven yesterday or 2 days ago, but the standard will be not affecting most of the devices. However, this is scientific proved already and validated. It's on NOAA actually. The old and the biggest, the worst power grids are the most vulnerable. Earthquake. 4.5 again. Papua New Guinea. This is strong today. And remember that sometimes it's not at the beginning of the impacts, it triggers the thing and then it shakes the earth, and then after sometimes a few days it happens. Well, for sure today is a tough day for earthquakes. Now, hydrate. So, the power grids, the older and the biggest ones, are the more vulnerable to solar events. So that means, as it happened in 1989 on Canada, and more events like those, the blackout occurred because the power grids, the biggest ones and long ones, are the first ones to be affected. And naturally, it will affect a whole region. That's what happened in 1989. I speak often about that event here on Canada. If Puerto Rico event happens in your region or mine, will most likely be similar. So it will be a blackout, and this is the event that has more chances to occur, not a dinosaur event. Those are more have less chances. But events like this will happen often. And on Puerto Rico, it will happen in your place, and mine it's a matter of time. Now, it will not disrupt most of the electronics. It can disrupt communication, so internet kaput probably, but the power grids will be the first ones. The power grids are very important because they were without water during 2 days, without water and electricity, right? Yes, these are the last hours today's earthquakes. Not all from today. This will update. This is in real time. What you are watching, this just happened. Actually, it's faster than USGS. If you notice here, you can fast check. You can check it, and occurs here, and then a few minutes, and USGS puts it on the website. I checked it already. Fact check. Fast check. So, things that can happen in your location and mine. Things like this train that was without electricity in Puerto Rico, and you can see this was kind of one of the most viral videos out there, with people getting out of the train because it simply stopped. So this is something that will not affect you and your home directly. It will be affected from people that it will affect people that are traveling or to go to their jobs or whatever. So something to have into account. We are analyzing here. I want to make sure you understand this. We are analyzing a low event, a soft event. We are not analyzing a super mega giga solar event that will burn everything. This is the events that will happen more often. So it's important, at least for these ones, to be prepared. It's a first step. If you are here for the first time, or if you never thought about that, they will not talk about that in the mainstream media. So it's a good opportunity you have, and subscribe for more, because I talk about and explain these situations. If you like this kind of content, remember to subscribe and hit the notification bell to stay up to date with videos and live streams. This is because I was working a lot. Physically, I mean. So this image, it's one of them, and I want to show you something. For instance, this one. And why is important you to be prepared at least for the basics. By the way, it was restored already, the power to most part of the population. It was today, a few hours ago. Watch this image. This is an image from the news. Look at this window here. This is a prepper, or can be a prepper. All the street without light. Notice these details. It's what I want you to focus on. The prepper here in this window, in this apartment. The cars, as you can see, were not disrupted. The cars kept moving, so they have lights. You see the level of event that I want to show you. This was a low event. It was a G4 event. We don't know, I insist, we don't know what was the cause of this disruption. I can't say it was the sun. Nobody is saying a real cause. But now, here's where it gets interesting. I'm a soft prepper. I bet most of you didn't know this. The Great Geomagnetic Storm of May 1921. Okay. I want to draw the attention to this, and I will explain the correlation with today. The Great Geomagnetic Storm of May 1921. Different interesting things. The newspapers back that time, the New York Times, Sunspot credited with rail tie-up. New York Central Signal System put out of service by play of Northern Lights. The sunspot, which caused the brilliant Aurora Borealis on Saturday night, and the worst electrical disturbance in memory on the telegraph systems, was credited with an unprecedented thing when the entire signal and switching system of the New York Central Railroad was out of operation. New York Central Railroad. This is often called the event, the storm of the New York Central Railroad, because of this event. Okay? More newspaper here, more newspaper here. Now I want to make a break before moving on. Think with me. This was a massive event in 1921 because of a sunspot. There were two coronal mass ejections, we'll see in a moment. The first one, and this I didn't know until I studied this. The first one, we usually talk about cannibal coronal mass ejections, which means different coronal mass ejections, two or more, that go together and they add to each other, and bam, the impact is big. What I didn't know until I studied this is that the first coronal mass ejection of a sequence of them, like we had, for instance, in early May with those 7, 8, whatever, the first one opens the space, making more vulnerable for the rest to act. So, imagine two coronal mass ejections with the same power and intensity. The first one will open space, the second one will be even more powerful. Earthquake. 3.3. Where was it? Okay. New Zealand. The first one opens space for the second one, so the impact is higher. Now, think with me. In 1989, there was a massive event that caused millions of people on Canada without light, without power supply, light and water, depending on where they were. Millions. It happens after this, on 1989. Scientists keep saying, and it's validated, that they didn't know back that time. And only a few years later, they could understand that it was the sun. Today, it's fully understood that it was the sun. It was a massive event on the sun, caused that, and that blackout on Canada. Now, think with me. If this happened in 1921, and they say everywhere, including on New York Times, on different newspapers here, they identified the sun as the cause of that event, why is that so many years later it happened on Canada and they didn't, or they couldn't identify that was the sun? If it happened before, this identification of the sun as a cause of a blackout, right? Why the heck on Canada back that time they didn't say, somebody, hold on, we had that in 1921, for instance, so this, we just had an event in the sun, this was the sun. No, only many years later, and recently they validated that. I'll tell you my opinion. It's not, and this changed all my opinion about this. It's not that on Canada event on 1989, they didn't know it was the sun, as they say. It's that on 1989 on Canada, they didn't accept it was the sun, the cause of the event. And the cause of the event, being the sun, was only accepted many years later. Now, think with me again. This is a brain fitness. So on 1921, they perfectly say on the New York Times that it was the sun, and different places. On 1989, we had that massive event. They couldn't say it was the sun, but it was the same thing. Now, how can I trust 100% that today they don't accept things that we talk about a lot here? They simply just don't talk about them. They don't accept them. But in a few years, they will be accepted and validated fully, the same way they did with Canada event. Do you know what I mean? That means that me and you, should be always open-minded. That's why I got rid of every closed-minded people from my community, and I will keep doing that. People that have closed mind is not doesn't fit this community, simply. You have to be open-minded enough to accept the fact that today science which is a religion for many people, science doesn't accept and validate something that in a few years will be fully validated. I'm talking about things like, many things, like the correlation with earthquakes and the sun, the weakening of the magnetic field, the pole shift, the health being affected, me and you being affected in health by radiation from the sun. Hold on. They say that without saying. They say that, and sometimes I show you some gems here. I'm about to show you another one. They say that without explaining. And that leads me to think that they know already. In the deep of the scientific community, they know something that they don't share for different reasons. Especially the force that rules the world, that push everything. You know very well what is it. No? Let me show you something. Let me show you something. There are studies about this. There we go. So in 2013, this is interesting. In 2013, and we go now to the mainstream realm, the Royal Academy of Engineering made a report called Extreme Space Weather Impacts on Engineered Systems and Infrastructure. So, let's take it with a grain of salt. It's natural that engineers making a report about an event that happened, and I'm talking about this 1921, there's a link here to that thing, when they say, well, they put this a link here for studies and scientific papers about the event. One of the studies is this report, okay? Royal Academy of Engineering. So, full mainstream science. Before showing you this, it's natural. When I opened this for the first time, I said, well, these are engineers. They were asked to make a report. It's needed, a report for science. So most likely I will read here technical stuff. Boring to me. And that was what happened. All these, I don't know how many pages, but they are many pages. I read it in diagonal, you know how it is. And they reflect what I've been talking to you here about the technical effects of solar events on radio communications, on satellites, on people on space, on power grids as well, everything. I will show you just a single picture that shows it all. However, right at the beginning, look at this. Nobody is crazy enough to show you this, but I like to show you these things. In the point number 3, space weather, an introduction. It's right at the beginning, introduction. And I quote, I read to you. Space weather is a term which describes variation in the sun, solar wind, magnetosphere, ionosphere, and thermosphere. Very well. Hold on, earthquake. because we are with the eye on the, 4.0. They are tough today. 4, 4, 4, 4, 4. Now it was on Chile. Chile. On Chile. So they say what is space weather? Which can influence the performance and reliability of a variety of space-borne and ground-based technological systems, and can also endanger human health and safety. I will repeat, and can also endanger human health and safety. It's not me that I'm saying, I'm just reading what they say on this report. However, after this line, you will not have anything talking about that in the full report. It's only about technical stuff. This is a clue. This is a clue that the team that made of the engineers or whatever they are that made this report based on the study, scientific studies that studied deeply the 1921, remember it's what we are talking about right now, the 1921 blackout that nobody talks about, that caused that disruption on New York, for instance, fires everywhere. I will read that to you as well. The report says in a single line that can also endanger human health and safety. Why the heck they put this here on this paragraph, human health, if they don't believe that the sun affects human health? This is why I believe that it's a hoax. The thing on 1989 that they say that after a few years, I saw documentaries with scientific people, scientists saying, and I read many papers that they say we didn't know until it happened a few years later. I don't know how many years I can remember. We didn't know back that time that Canada was having a blackout in 1989 because of the sun. Now we know. No, so now science knows. They didn't accept that back that time. They knew. As they knew on 1921. As they know now that something is happening, will happen, and for some reason they don't accept and they don't expose everything to us, to me and you. That's why I exist and this channel exists. Now, the technical part is interesting. The technical part is interesting. And for the ones that don't follow this live stream, you should, because everybody knows already this. Zoom, zoom, zoom. It's very interesting, of course. This is the effect of, from mainstream science, of the solar events or space weather events on Earth. Radiation belt particles, galactic cosmic rays. It's not only, remember I told you here, it's not only the radiation from the sun. Sorry, we have cosmic radiation as well, hitting the Earth. And solar cosmic rays. Bam, bam. Here we have an old space shuttle. Astronaut safety, they say. Computer and memory upsets and failures. And there's a satellite. It damaged. Solar cell damage. Solar radio bursts. Ionosphere currents. Radio wave disturbance. Cellular disruption. These are the 5G. This is a 5G antenna. It looks like. And this is a different antenna. Radio wave antenna here. Solar radio bursts. GPS station navigation, that is a well-known one. Then plasma bubble, they have a cloud here on the ionosphere, this part of the sky. Plasma bubble, bam, signal scintillation, so they lose signal on this kind of receptors. Airline passenger radiation, which is I always talk about that here. Radiation during flight, especially near the poles, North Pole or closer to the poles, the North Pole and South Pole, are in danger of accumulation of radiation in their bodies. It's like when you go to the doctor for an X-ray. You don't want it. You know, that's why they got out of the room, so you can be alone receiving the radiation for the X-ray. Because it's well known that the radiation, that accumulation is not good for human beings, for human health. However, there's a threshold that we manage. I know that because with my wife cancer, she couldn't, she had to do loads of tests, but sometimes she can't, the guys have to change the dates because of the excess of radiation. They say, well, we will delay for another date so you can manage the radiation better. It's spread it all over the year. It's not intensive. No, I know very well that. So that means airline passenger radiation suffer from that. They don't mention here the north of the south. This is me adding into it because it's natural. It's common sense closer to the entrances, the north and the south pole. With the electromagnetic fields, they are closer. That's why you see the auroras mainly on near the northern countries, and here on 37 latitude, I barely can see them, even with large events. Then atmospheric drag here with a satellite or a spacecraft or something. Rainfall water vapor. Rainfall water vapor. They have here a thunderstorm and a receptor again. And radar interference. Then you have the ground. Look here, the thunderstorm. Then you have the ground, which is another important piece of the equation, because as you know, and I talk about that a lot here, the charged particles, that electricity enters, and I will show you something gorgeous about that. That just happened 2 days ago. Those charged particles that come from the sun, they blast into the magnetosphere, they enter in the earth through the magnetic fields, and they go beneath the ground. That's why Canada and the United States, the only countries that show that those currents on the ground. For instance, 2 days ago, they had this. It was after the stream, so I couldn't show you. This was 2 days ago. This is United States and Canada 2 days ago. Do you see the colors here? Do you remember me in the live streams that I'm always showing you this? Because they have a forecast, daily forecast. Do you remember that usually it's all blue? Because it's a low level of electricity on the ground. Well, this was during the impact of the filaments that we had coronal mass ejections. Two coronal mass ejections, again, like in 1921, two coronal mass ejections. The first one, open space, impacts open space, and the second one, bam! Bam, it was higher. Bam, it was stronger. I showed you here, no? The red lines, the red bars, it was stronger. It opens space. I learned this right now. It opens, the first one always opens space for the next one, or furthermore, that came and impact the Earth. They cause this. Electricity on the ground. There's more very interesting that you will want to know for your region. But let me have it pending here, because there's something very interesting here. Let me finish the 1921 first. More important things. They didn't know it at the time, 1921. But those newspapers were covering the biggest solar storm of the 20th century. Earthquake. 3.7 on Japan. On Japan again. Let me hydrate. Yeah, Japan shaking up. Traveling to 1921 again. Let's go. So 1921, for the ones that just joined us, it was a massive event that we had more than 100 years ago that had blackouts in different parts and disruptions of United States and Europe as well. Not only United States. I think they say here. They didn't know it that time, but it was the biggest solar storm of the 20th century. It began, pay attention because I will connect to NASA to show you this today. It began on May 12. Funny fact, it's usually March, April, May. When giant sunspot AR 1842 crossing the sun during the declining, this is important, during the declining phase of solar cycle 15, 10 solar cycles ago, we are on the 25, when that sunspot began to flare. Look here in this graphic which shows the solar cycles, here is 1921. It was here, man. Right now in the solar cycle 25 that we are living, the maximum, we are kind of here in this region. We don't know if we peaked, in fact, but if we did peak already or not, it doesn't matter. We are on this region here. We are still not aware or sure about if we are already declining or if we will have a massive one before going down. Because as you can see here, we had, for instance, on the cycle 16, and there are more like this, one peak, another peak, another peak, another peak. The real one was this one, the fourth. And it was, people here will think, well, it's over, but bam, we had the peak here. So it's unpredictable. Furthermore, it's so unpredictable that after everything declined, and we were almost at the solar minimum on 1921, that event happened. The geomagnetic storm, the massive one, the biggest one until that date on the 20th century. Now, that sunspot crossing the sun during the declining phase of solar cycle 15 began to flare. So the sunspot as usual caused the flares that cause radiation, but the coronal mass ejection, it's not from that explosion. It's a different explosion, a different event that it's called a coronal mass ejection, that it's not radiation, it's plasma. Plasma headed to the Earth. That was what caused the auroras last year. That is what can cause trouble to us on the Earth. Although the radiation as well, this is worse. The plasma. Now look at this. In the declining phase, began to flare. One explosion after another hurled coronal mass ejections directly towards the Earth. For the next 3 days, those coronal mass ejections rocked Earth's magnetic field. Scientists around the world were surprised when their magnetometers suddenly went off scale. And then the fires began. On May 15th, so 3 days after the departure of those coronal mass ejections, remember I always say to you, on average 2 to 4 days. It's the average of the travel of the coronal mass ejections. What the heck is he talking about the coronal mass ejections? It's this. This happens in the sun. This was from a loop here that we have a prominence. And then the departure from the sun.
The King Sun.
They hit our magnetic field. The charged particles that you see, the plasma, is transferred, travels through the magnetic fields of the Earth as well. There's the magnetic reconnection, this reconnection, they touch here and they travel and enter into the Earth through the North and the South Poles. The doors
Are open.
Then the auroras. Guys, no spam here. Man, once for all, respect other YouTubers. I don't want my community, but they don't do that. I don't need that. To go to other YouTubers, say, oh, Tiago is very good. Come there, come there. I don't need that. You come here, the algorithm shows you like, you stay with us. You like a lot, you become a member for only 99 cents a month. And have access to exclusive content, and you can share telescopes as well with us. You don't like me, you think I'm a jerk. Good. Perfect. Off. Don't spam me with other people, man. We don't need that, man. That's childish. That's childish. Okay. The fires began. So, in May 15th, 1921, a telegraph exchange in Sweden, you see, not only in the United States, in Sweden burst into flames. About an hour later, the same thing happened across the Atlantic in the village of Brewster, New York. Thank you, Miss Honeybay, for gifting 1 Dobsonian Power memberships. Welcome! The new member, you are now an explorer. You are an explorer. Thank you so much. In New York, flames engulfed the switchboard at the Brewster station of the Central New England Railroad and quickly spread to destroy the whole building. This was the sun. That fire, along with another one, about the same time in a railroad control tower near New York City's Grand Central Station, this was very important, is why the event is sometimes referred to as the New York Railroad Superstorm. When you hear that, it's this event, 1921. Oh, that guy talked about it. Now, but I like to show you the details. This you can get it. I like to show you the details as I've been doing this live stream. This was the sunspot. This was the sunspot. Excuse me, Miss Honeybee. This was the sunspot. Here. Now, while you enjoy the sunspot that caused those blackouts and fires and all that destruction in different places, in 1921, oh, earthquake again. 3.1 on Philippines. I will connect to NASA, as we always do here, to show you something.
Connecting to NASA spacecraft. Update information. Information being updated.
Thank you, Miss Honeybee, for your super chat. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Super shot.
Thank you. So for the ones that don't know, this is the view from different tools from NASA. This is the blue one, is the coronagraph. The blue one is the coronagraph LASCO C3. The red one is LASCO C2. There's an occultation disk here. And we have other instruments to watch the different features of the sun. For instance, the sunspots. So this was the sun 48 hours ago, and I will run everything until today, until now. We talked about these regions. We had a while departing region that it's not visible anymore. And we have an incoming region, two incoming regions. This group of sunspots and this one. Now, this is moving until today. There's an evolution on both. And the more complex in their magnetic fields is this one up here. So it's the one that has right now more potential to explode. Now, look at these sunspots, and look at these sunspots. They are not very different. This was on 1921. What caused the fires? Electrical currents induced by geomagnetic activity surged through telephone and telegraph lines, heating them to the point of combustion. Needless to remind you that it was back on 1921. They didn't have the technology. They are not so dependent of the technology as we are right now. Strong currents disrupted telegraph systems in Australia, Brazil, Denmark, France, Japan, New Zealand, Norway, Sweden, United Kingdom and United States of America. Don't think you will get rid of it being in a different country. We all will be affected by a low event. This is a kind of a low event. There's more that the sun can do. This is a most likely event to happen sooner than later. Oh, Tiago, we are already past the maximum. It was the peak. Yes, but this was in the descent, almost at the minimum. Bam! Huh? To be aware. To be aware. They will not tell you this on the television. On some telegraph lines in the United States, voltages spiked as high as 1000 volts. During the peak of the storm, southern cities like Los Angeles and Atlanta felt like Fairbanks, with northern lights dancing overhead while telegraph lines crackled with geomagnetic currents that electricity. This doesn't end here. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Star Guy, for your super chat. Bam! More Dobsonian channel, understanding as the sun's polarity flips, and solar and astro powers to our explorers, members, and guests. Bam, 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 bam. There we go.
It's happening. Run to the bunker now.
I need more water. There we go. Auroras were seen in USA as far south as Texas, while in the Pacific, red auroras were sighted from Samoa and Tonga. Oh, Tonga. Volcano. And ships at sea crossing the equator. What will happen if such a storm occurred today? That's when that huge report that I showed you talk about that, all of that, of those technical events, and they talked about the health. They didn't go deep on that. They didn't break it down. We do it here during our videos and live stream. Of course, back that time the auroras were not so much reported as they are today. This was during the night and United States reported loads of them. If it was today, this will be all painted, and here on Europe as well, of reports of auroras, of course. Remember 1921, okay? It was 1921. Okay, this dry-sounding result appends conventional wisdom. Students of space weather have long been taught that the Carrington event was the strongest solar storm in recorded history. Now we know that the May 1921 storm was about equally intense. For the ones that don't know, the Carrington event, you have a nice video on my channel about the Carrington event. On 1859, bam, from a discovery from Richard Carrington. That's why the name Carrington event, for a huge sunspot. This, basically. For you to have an idea. For you to have an idea, the ones that don't know and are here for the first time. This was the Carrington event, 1859 sunspot that caused massive blackouts, disruptions, sparks on telegraphs, everybody running. No, they didn't know what to do because it was all burning. Below you can see the sunspot of early May on 2024. Last year's event that some of you might remember caused loads of auroras in the sky. By the way, everybody that is here in my live streams was warned, not only warned, but we were here day after day tracking everything and with very emotion live streams and watching it live as well with telescopes, which is unique. Earthquake. So a 3.0 reported right now on Indonesia. So for you to have an idea. So the students said, now we know that the May 1921 storm was about equally intense. So this 1921 event was a Carrington level type event. 1859 till 1921, it's not too much, it's less than 100 years, right? But we had more Carrington level type events, like in 2012. The thing is, in 2012, it was far away from the Earth. It didn't got the Earth. I showed you that here, in different live streams. And I'm about to show you again that the event was recorded in 2012, was recorded by NASA, of course. As you can see here, the Earth, the Sun, and the massive coronal mass ejection. This was a Carrington type event that we had on 2012. Nobody talked about it. Of course, it missed the Earth. If this wasn't in this direction and it was to the Earth, it would be a new Carrington event on Earth. This was 2012, ladies and gentlemen. Did you saw this? Did you see this on television? No. No. Of course. No. If the May, they say, if the May 1921 storm hit today, I'd expect it to lead to most, if not all, of the impacts outlined in that Royal Academy of Engineering report. Now, this was the electric stuff, right? This was 2 days ago from that event. On early May, we watched it. It was even stronger. This is electricity going beneath the ground. This is measured every day. Now, for the ones that didn't listen at the beginning of the stream, the thing here is we had a massive blackout in Puerto Rico. Almost 400,000 people were affected, were without light and water, power supply and water. This is the most likely event that can happen, the one that has more chances of happening to me and you in the near future. Are you prepared? Well, let me tell you that one of the characteristics of this event, as you could see in those pictures that I showed you, is that there are disruptions of massive power grids. However, and especially the long ones, because it accumulates during the lines. However, most devices that we have at home can, be saved and avoid disruptions. One of the devices that I strongly recommend you to have, I got it. Not one, not only one. It's so good that after buying one, I purchased a second one. It's a solar power generator. This Blue Yeti on Amazon, it's on offer right now. Blue Yeti, and I'm not sponsored. AC 180, it means 1800 watts of electricity. What does that mean, Tiago? It means that if any device that you have at home that works, that has below or equals 1800 watts. You can see that in the specs. Most of them, actually all of them here in my home, are lower than that, I believe. I didn't think in any that has more than that. You can charge it right away under a blackout. I remind you, I had 3 blackouts, more than half a day each. 3 blackouts in 3 weeks only, recently. That's why I purchased this. I purchased the second one. Why? Because I have to use water pump. Probably you should be fine with one, but I have to use water pump, so I need to make sure that, as we did last time, we had the 3rd blackout, I had already 1 generator. The kids arrived home with my wife and me. We were dinnering out because, you know, it was all dark, and we went away from my region to have my dinner. Fortunately, it was only a small region. When we came back, the kids charged their smartphones, their gaming console, and I right away connected the water. So they could take their bath, clean, wash the teeth, everything. Go to the bathroom, everything. So it's very, very important to me to make sure that happens. That's why I will have one single one just for the water. The thing is, I can charge it. Imagine that it's a blackout, a larger one. I can charge it, and I purchase one with this, a solar panel. 200 watts. I have the cable. Actually, I purchased a longer one so I can put it anywhere. Extend. And if it's sunny, I can charge it even while it's working. It's amazing. I will do a video about this sooner than later, so I can compact all the information for you. This was a lifesaver that day. The 3rd blackout that I had in 3 weeks was awesome to have this, and it will be a lifesaver to you in case you have a blackout. Be aware that the cities you live like all together, if a massive region is affected, it's loads of people, it will be panic. And if you have this solar generator and a few battery lights that I have on my website, a very nice list. Remember, I'm a low profile prepper. I just have what I think it's really, really basic and important to have. I have the Bluetti, the solar panel, the extender. But there's something very, very, very inexpensive that I turned on right away when I entered home during the blackout. It's this emergency light bulb. It's a few bucks only. I don't know, $5 or something. Emergency light bulb, 5 pieces. This is something that I have at home. They are light bulbs that I have always there in my lamps, the regular lamps I have there hanging on. They are very small. They have batteries inside, but they last for years because I only use them on blackouts. And as soon as I entered home, bam, 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 all the rooms with lights, all the regions of my house with lights, so we could be fine. And then we had more light. We added more lights, but this is enough for you to be fine. Now remember, I have loads of stuff here. Remember, people or preppers always talk about this stuff that I'm talking as well. But there's something very, very important that people usually underestimate, and probably even more important in some cases. It's the mindset. Prepping is not only to have the water filter, the solar generator, whatever. Prepping is also be prepared mentally to what's happening, and when it happens, can deal with the situation with tranquility and using your head, not getting in panic, and be smarter, going away. It's not smarter because other people will figure it out, but being in front of other people will make you take the right decision before them, and that's very important, especially if you live in a city. Let me pull here Star Guy. Thank you, Star Guy, for gifting 10 Dobsonian Power memberships. Welcome everybody to the spaceship. You are now, yes, you guessed it, an explorer. You are an explorer. Thank you so much. An earthquake. 4.1 again.
It's happening. It's happening.
4.1 on... where is it? It's down here. Let me pull this a bit. On Chile again. And thank you, Chris Green. Put a heart here. Thank you, Chris Green from Texas. By the way, I will tell you the better places to be on United States with a solar storm, or the worst ones. There we go. Bam! Thank you, Chris Green, for your super chat.
Super shot.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Dobsonian power. Dobsonian power. Thank you so much. Have a good Friday. Good Friday. I was doing my gardening, planting trees, connecting with nature. Now, that's where it gets interesting now. And out of the grid. Be open-minded. I advise you. Where are you? Okay. Be open-minded. For what's coming. Mapping a magnetic superstorm from Space Weather Archive. From Dr. Tony, a virtual friend of this channel. Researchers have mapped the best and the worst places in USA to be during a severe geomagnetic storm. For residents of some big cities, the news is not good. Oh boy. Resistive structures in the crust and mantle of the Earth make cities along the east coast of the United States especially vulnerable to geomagnetic storms. Says Jeffrey from USGS, very well known, with a scientific study. Hazards are greatest for power systems serving Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Washington, D.C., a megalopolis of over 50 million people. And this map that you are watching is precisely pointing that. Now I understand why this region, after going deeper on this, of course, this is all science. Now I understand why this region at the right is always more heated with electric charges, electric charged particles on the ground, beneath the ground, after the storms, than this. Do you know why? There are regions that are more vulnerable. For instance, Texas is better, Florida should be, is not even here. This all the south here, southwest is less vulnerable. Do you know why? I didn't know until now. These conclusions are based on a new study of the biggest geomagnetic storm of the space age, the Great
Quebec Blackout.
The Great Quebec Blackout that I'm often talking here on 1989. I just spoke about it. Millions of people spent a long winter night without lights or heat after a pair of CMEs hammered Earth's magnetic field. Again, a pair of CMEs. The Hydro-Quebec power grid was down for more than 9 hours. Blackout. Well, welcome to the club, because I was in 3 weeks 3 times like that. 3 times. So again, a pair of them. A cannibal.
Coronal mass ejection.
Remember, 2 coronal mass ejections. The first one opens the space to the second one. In this footage, we can see they already mixed before impact, but that on 1921, according to the scientists, was opening the first one, open it for the second one, which I didn't know. Okay. Another interesting thing. Why does that happen in some places more than the others? Why are you more vulnerable than your neighbor in another state, for instance? Earth and power lines form an electrical circuit. If too much current flows into the power grid, it can cause a blackout. And I have here another image of the currents on the ground affecting the power plants. Geomagnetically induced current, the GIC, it's why when they are longer it's worse, because they accumulate more. They are longer cables, they accumulate more charged particles. They don't say here, but I know that. I read elsewhere. Okay. Next, because of Faraday's law, it's why the electrical currents begin to flow through conductors. Let me just make a break here because of the Faraday's law. I will not explain what is it. Just want to draw you the attention for something. If you want, you have a look at Wikipedia. It's something with the magnetic fields and current. Let me see, where is it? Okay. This is something different you will not expect, because I will not tell you what is the Faraday's. I only want to show you this. This was discovered from Michael Faraday, that's why the name. Michael Faraday, 1831, so in the past. And they say here, however, scientists at that time widely rejected his theoretical ideas, mainly because they were not formulated mathematically. Earthquake. 4.4. On. Middle East. These are the details I want you to focus in. Scientist Faraday, 1831, discovered this thing that now it's used by science, mainstream science always, to make this correlation and understand everything, whatever it is. However, scientists at the time, 1831, widely is broad, no? Widely rejected his theoretical ideas, mainly because they were not formulated mathematically. Guys, open your eyes. This is happening right now. For sure. It happened in the past. Again, I'm always showing you these details because they are important. In the past, they didn't accept this. That now is important. Again and again, this happens on history. Many things right now are not being accepted from mainstream science. They are already spread it and very deeply, some of them in fringe science, what they call fringe science. It happens again. There are things that now they don't accept, that we should be open-minded enough, at least open-minded, at least put in doubt. Okay, ask questions. I'm not saying for you to accept everything that is not on science. Open mind. Right? Bam! And it's an important thing. So the geoelectric thing here on the states that I told you. Now, do you know why? Why does that happen? Why the heck is Tiago saying that scientists said that my state is awful and the ones at the south is better for during the geomagnetic storms? Because of the type of rock. I didn't know this. The type of rock on Canada was the responsible for Canada on 1989 had a massive blackout. It was a freaking rock. It's all connected. The sun, the magnetic fields, the charged particles, and the rock. Why is that? Because the places where the rock, the type of rock, have more resistivity, I think it's the word, resistance to conductivity. I'll show here. I'll read. Are more resistant. Those are the worst places. Of course, what did I make right away after seeing this, after reading this? What did I make right away after understanding that it's the freaking rock, type of rock that classifies your region? I went straight away to AI to check if my region, aka my home, has that. So I asked to the AI, what type of rock is predominant in my region? I put my city, region, and country. And they said, your region has this, and this kind of rock. Well, then I asked, has that kind of soil much conductivity? And they said to me, yes. In your region, it has loads of conductivity. I was a bit better. Now, comparing the conductivity of my soil with the one in Quebec, Canada? Is there much difference? And AI said, yes, there is a significant difference in soil conductivity between your region and Canada. Primarily due to differences in geology, climate, and soil composition. And then they talk about the rocks and everything. And they said, they go deep on this. It's very interesting. Well, basically they said that mine has more conductivity, safer in the solar storm. Because it has more conductivity for different reasons I will not read here. But then I was curious and I asked him, is grounding, you know that I do grounding, is grounding or earthing more effective in my region, which is Algarve, than Canada? And they said, yes. Yes, you have to say grounding, human grounding, walking barefoot. Otherwise he will go to I don't know, technical stuff. Yes, walking barefoot, human grounding, is generally more effective in Algarve than in Quebec due to differences in soil conductivity, climate, and terrain. And then they explain why. You can do this with any AI to your region. At least to understand where you are walking every day. And especially if you do grounding. Because it's good for grounding. It's good for grounding. And then I ask, so is my region soil also better for electrical gardening? Do you know what is electrical gardening? Is that thing that they put in the plants with coils that it's supposed to those sticks with those coils, copper coils, and they say the people that do that. That's why I was talking with Czech about this. Czech was talking about this the other day with me, and I was searching. I made my research, and I see people that it's called electrical gardening, that they put the sticks on the earth. However, they to capture the electricity, those charged particles, and it's supposed to help the plants to grow. Well, mainly what I made from my research, I discovered that most of them introduce artificial electricity. So they use 12 volts DC and make a system, which I don't like very much that. I was expecting more of natural stuff only. And also I saw some comparisons with results with this side of the fence and then the other side of the fence with the same plants, and they didn't notice too much. Well, something that I will research more and more. You're talking about that. Of course it is. Supercharged photosynthesis. It makes sense to me. It makes sense. The potential. It makes sense. Poor fish. Yes, you have on United States. We have here, but it's a different brand. Fish fertilizer or something. It's what they call. Mr. Mac or something, no? Dr. Mac or... I can't remember on the United States. So you just ask AI compare with Canada or ask if it has more conductivity or so. It's better. Maybe that's why it works so well to me. It can be an explanation. Some people, the grounding doesn't work as good as for other people. Maybe because I do a lot as well and in the good conductivity place. And not only that, most of my grounding during all the good weather, so it will start on spring. Now, well, it's bad now, but it will start soon, hopefully. And until the next winter, I go a lot to the beach and, and that's the best place to do grounding because the salt and the salt water has loads of connectivity. It's the best place. Earthquake. 4.6, another one, 4. Cuba this time, and you see they were spread it during the live stream. We observed the different 4, 4, 4, 4 and spread it around the globe, not in a single region, which is weird. So the ocean is the best one. Thank you, Thomas, for your super sticker. Thank you so much. Well, super chat works as well. Bam.
Super shot.
Guys, I'm feeling I compact a lot of information. Hope everybody understands what I like to split more the information. Thank you. Now, a quick summary, so you will not be flooded with boring information, at least to me, about the new life discovery, probable new life discovery on the planet K2-18b. It's a planet that it's not far away. It's around 120, I think, light years. 122, I think, light years from us. So it means that if we could travel at speed of light, we would reach there in 120 years. It's not close, but it's not too far away as well. So that means we probably in the future we will have more to the information we have already. Thank you, Star Guy, for being member for 26 months. Level Ultra Explorer. Thank you. You are an Ultra Explorer. There is nuclear fission and other activity occurring in the depths of the sun that are completely beyond the current understanding of atomic, quark, muon, and particle science. Bam, for sure, man. For sure. As a reminder for everybody here, so you two can have a context, only on 1972 we had the first image of a solar explosion of plasma in a camera from NASA, from SOHO instrument that I use here a lot, or I access here. It's 1972, man. I have 53 years old, and I was born on 71, so I was born already. So it was not a long time. Actually, on 1972 was another event, solar event, that is validated, that is reported by military and the army, that was on Vietnam. 1972 was on Vietnam. Thousands of sea mines, ocean mines were exploding because of a solar flare. That one was not a plasma, was radiation. Radiation takes 8 minutes to arrive to the Earth. It explodes, bam, 8 minutes. when we see the radiation exploding on here, when we watch the sun in real time, it's already arriving at Earth. It's impacting. Radiation. It triggered the freaking sea mines. And that's, I made a live stream about that already. Long report, military report, all very well tightened and explained by height level people on the army that worked back that time, that were very young back that time, of course. So many things we have to explore. Remember, always keep open-minded, man. This is a huge mistake I see people doing, to close the mind to what's new. For some reason, we are humans. Some people have fear of changing, fear of social discrimination, of budget discrimination, of job work discrimination, because you think differently. Look, I don't care. I think differently. I don't care, man. It's the channel. As long as they don't shut down the channel, I will be fine with you. We have a different community. We are for peace and love. I wish we could. That would be awesome. That would be awesome on the 60s, that movement of peace and love. Well, I will be in peace forever with the world, with nature, with you. That's what it is here. And with this, I will land the spaceship. I had already everything covered except the coronal hole, which is the title of it. Well, the coronal hole, I will quickly show you. The coronal hole. The coronal hole. The coronal hole. The coronal hole. It's here. In case people were here since the beginning waiting for this information. The freaking coronal hole. Let me just hydrate. Just a coronal hole, a quick approach. This is, for the ones that are not used to this, this is the old coronal hole that was massive, was much bigger before rotating the sun, and now it's coming back. It returned. It has returned, but it shrunk a bit. It shrank a bit, and it's still massive. It still can be problematic. Why? Why is that? Because if those coronal holes that we have and those filaments that we have remember to explode again, and especially those evolving regions that are in the incoming side of the sun, so the left side, they are rotating, they are here, the sunspots. This one is getting more complex. We have a big one here as well. So what happens is that when they explode, imagine that in next week they start exploding, they will be boosted by this solar wind, this fast solar wind. And the impacts will be higher. Notice that the impacts now are higher than expected, as it was the last event 2 days ago, because we have a weaker magnetic field. That's why an event that was supposed to be a G2 or a G3 was a G4. And it keeps happening again and again and again and again. So, open-minded. They don't explain that, but they don't make that correlation to the public. I don't know why yet. But some scientists on the fringe science side are already making and working on those studies. Fortunately, and hopefully we will have much more of those people in the world. It's needed. It's needed. It's needed. And less superficial and fake people in the world, more genuine, human and peaceful people that likes to move the world forward. I wish you a very good Friday, a nice weekend. It's Easter here. We have all those dynamics of Christmas time here. Be positive, keep your peace of mind. Stay tuned with us. I will be with you. in the next live stream. Bye bye. Thank you so much. Thank you. Kisses to everybody.